The challenge for today is, can I make the Spinz 808 sound even better? Now, the Spinz 808 is considered the industry standard for the 808. It's the blueprint for what an 808 should sound like in the modern age. So what we're going to do is actually process this to see if we can make it sound even better. I know that sounds crazy, but here's a sample from the Spinz 808, and let's just create a little pattern. All right, now what we're going to do is run this through channel 1, and we're going to load my new plugin, which has a new interface. We're working on a different interface right now, so it's in testing mode, but it will be out very soon. It's called the 808, just BusyWorks Beats 808. You can call it the 808 processor, whatever you guys want to call it. It's built specifically for 808s. Now, it does work on drums, it does work on mixed buses, but we built this for 808s. So basically, you just turn knobs if you guys want to get quickly started. All right, now we have different distortion modes. These are based off of different analog circuitries. So we have modeled after analog. If you turn this analog button on, it will remove some of that, like the depths of analog. So if you want more of a digital sound, just turn off the analog. But these are built for the analog vibe. Let me turn up the output so you guys can actually. Now we also have it to where the input and output are linked. So you could turn off the link here as well. Just turn this up a little bit, and then you can A/B really quickly with the bypass button, just like that. Let's go to spectrum mode. It's a little more visual. All right, now let's switch out the modes here. Let's go to the distortion mode. Now these distortion modes are built to add harmonic richness to the sound. Okay, their whole job is to just transform the waveform. So what we're going to do is start at the top and arrow through. There's all different styles here, as you guys can hear. So again, here's before. Here's after. Now let's arrow through. Now some of these are louder than others. Okay. Sometimes we don't want to push too heavily into these. You do have to gain stage for this plugin, so that's why I built the input and output knob. So let's turn down the input a little bit because people don't realize they're going too heavily into these modes. See how it's like very subtle, but it's creating a difference. Now again, we can drive the signal even more aggressively. I wouldn't do it this aggressive, just showing you guys. So again, here's before. We added a new info button. So basically when you hover over knobs, somebody asked for this, it'll now tell you what the knob actually does. So if you guys are curious, just turn on the info knob button. So here's before. We also have a clipper built in here. I didn't turn the clipper on just yet. So I'm just going through different distortion modes here. They give you a bunch of different harmonic structures here. And again, depending on how you guys hit, the plugin determines how it processes the sound. So you're going to get a whole bunch of different tones depending on your gain staging. And that's what this drive knob is helping you do, is drive into the effect a little more. So this one gives us a little more dynamic, the 1/2 inch. Here's more of that Playboy Cardi type sound. Now you guys can go crazy and really destroy an 808. guys can see, there's a ton of modes here. Let's count 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. There's 20 different modes for you guys. Now this is half the sound. You can also filter out the sound. So let's say we want a bandpass filter on the effect. So here's before. Now we can emphasize certain frequencies. Here's before. Here's after. So for sound designers, this is going to be really good for like chiseling out an intensity. We also have vintage drum machine in here. So basically, if I usually turn off the distortion mode and I switch for the sampler mode. So this is going to give you more of a vintage like 90s vibe on this side of things. This is really good for drums. Then we could drive into it. Let me push the input. So here's before. Alright, now some people would say, okay, it's just louder. Okay, well, let's level match it then. We're at -9. Let's turn this back on and drop this 9 dB. So let's go -8. So we're sitting around the same volume for the most part. Here's before. And I'll even turn it up just so we can hear it at a louder volume. So here's before, the regular Spinz 808. Here's after. Clearly not the same. This one has more impact. So here's before, a little bit darker, a little bit more like buttery, I'll say. Here's after, where it has that aggression, the harmonic. So I like this tone. Let's also go to the compressor area. This is another area where we can add more movement. Let's turn it on parallel. So this acts as like an analog compressor as well. Let's turn it on a mode here. So first I'm going to turn up. So this is a lot of gain going into it. So we need to figure a way to see if we can lower that. Okay, so the input is so heavy that it's just compressing the entire thing here. So what I'm going to do is readjust the input to output just so we can get a little more compression. So now we see the compressor actually pulling the volume. Again, here's before. This one's a little more powdery because we're not slamming into the distortion. Just wanted you guys to hear the compressor. Now that would probably be easier to hear on drums because right now it's pushing so heavily into it, it's not really giving you the dynamic there that you guys can hear. So let's put the link mode on. This is another great tool to keep the inputs and outputs the same while you guys change the signal. So before, I think we're sitting at -3. Unlink, let's drop it 3 more dB. So again, here's before. Here's after. Very clear difference. Now let's go to the output here where we have built-in different clippers. There's hard clipping, which is the brick mode. There's soft clipping, which is the warm mode, silk mode, and just different styles. Okay, so let's start at the top. Now to hear this, we're going to lower what's called the clip threshold. Or you could just simply push more input into the plugin. Again, the way I would do it at this stage is turn on link mode and just turn it here. And we're at 5.8. So the more I push, the more it's going into the distortion unit and then into the clipper. And another way we can go into this is from the compressor, turning up the makeup gain. into the clipper. That's going to give us the cleanest clipping. So this is a lot of gain staging going on, but let's just turn it up from here. And that's why I gave you guys presets so you don't have to overly think a lot of this stuff. But now we're going into the clipper a little more aggressively. Let's switch out the clipper type. So here's silk. It basically does a slight expansion as you approach 0. So that's why it gives you that thrust sound. So brick mode is hard clipping. Soft rounds it off. So as you approach 0, it just does like a hockey stick kind of curve. Mid's another one that jumps out as very dynamic, the way it squares off your sound. That's another one to experiment with. So my favorites are, for this sound, silk and mid. If you're going for more like, if you're trying to clip like a trap song, I'm trying to think what kind of artist, like Big X the Plug or something like that, I might use the hard modes, hard 99. For example, I wouldn't push this aggressively into it, but I would use this as the distortion style. All right, so my favorite is the silk mode. Just has a little more dynamic. So again, this is -3. So here's before, same level, same nominal level, -3. Very different tones. Now here's a little aggressive. I probably wouldn't push the sound into it that aggressively. Let's pull it back about 3 dB. Personally, my favorite tone is without the clipper for this specific sound. And then we're running through the 12-bit drum machine. So here's before. Here's after. And we're sitting at the same -3. But it sounds much more full. Okay, so that just shows you guys that 808s can be processed to be a little bit better. Now, some 808s are already overly cooked by the sound design of the 808. That's why I like the Spinz 808. You can still process it without it sounding too overly cooked. So that's before, that's after. Here's before. Here's after. So if you want to get your 808s right, go to busyworksbeats.com/808. We're going to be updating this plugin soon. I just have to fix a couple things on the back end. Like for example, I want the compressor, this little graph, I have to turn this back on. So it's little stuff like that I just have to brush up on. We're going to have it for Mac and PC. So this version of it is not out yet completely. We redid some of the distortion style, so it's a little more analog than before. All right, guys, thank you for watching this game from busyworksbeats.com. Peace out, guys.